Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, everyone's hot for the new Pokemon trainers, and we can't blame them. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Adrian Holmes. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including the reveal of the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer. And then on Thursday, Mark and I are predicting Nintendo's June Direct with Connor McCabe. But in the meantime, Adrian from the Super Gamer Boys podcast is here. How are you, Adrian?
I'm doing all right. Patrick. How about yourself?
I'm also doing all right. Last week I injured my big toe a little bit.
I remember you talking about this on the Discord.
Yeah, I air a lot of my personal injuries on the Discord.
I'm glad you were able to find out that they're going to let you keep it. They don't have.
They are letting me. Yes. They are letting me keep it. But it's it kind of the pain flared up again this weekend. So I spent most of my weekend off of the foot.
Of course.
Which feels like a lost weekend.
I mean, any weekend that you don't have to do work is a win in my book. So
I mean, that's such a great point.
Speaking
of
even if
wins,
it's just sitting there.
Yeah. And you know it was good. I watched Fire Island, the Bo and Yang Joel Kim Booster comedy on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. So I had a wonderful time watching that. Thoroughly recommend it to anyone that likes romantic comedies at all. Here's another thing I can recommend, the Sonic Forces borrowing program. If you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch, you can get on the list to do so. All you have to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and give us a mailing address where we can send you, again, my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. I pay for postage both ways. It's a perfect borrowing program. There may be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in there. And that's okay. It doesn't diminish the value of the program. Adrian, you had a question about this before.
Yeah,
we got
I
started.
did. I was asking, how did this even come to be? Number one, and number two, how do you not change your address after you send it out to just be forever rid of Sonic Forces? I don't understand.
So I bought Sonic Forces on like a curiosity, right? I enjoyed Sonic Mania quite a bit and was like, maybe this will be the 3D Sonic for me. Turns out, no. Of course it was not.
The 15th time is going to be the charm. for this is the 3D Sonic. This is the one.
We're all falling for it again. Everyone's excited about Frontiers.
Not
it's the
I.
same mistakes.
Not
all right,
I.
my man. Here we go. And so. I believe what happened was on the episode I offered to lend it to Mark, I think I said it in a way that sounded like I was offering it to the listener, and Mark was like, "You should do that," and so we've been doing it now for 5 years, sending out my copy of Sonic Forces, and it only didn't come back one time, so this is my second copy of Sonic Forces.
You bought us.
It's
a good tax write-off, I guess. Your account's gonna be like, oh, okay, I see you. Let's see your income for the year. Oh, here's your Sonic Forces receipts. We could use that. They're deductible.
Yeah, Patrick, I don't know how many copies of Sonic Forces you can deduct on your taxes. I think the IRS has a strict $500 limit on that. Here's something else you can do. If you don't want to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. If you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, we can see it and we can shout you out pretty easily. If you leave a review anywhere else, we don't see it. We are blind to these reviews, and mostly just because we refuse to go looking for them. Just give us an email, hit us up on Twitter, let us know so we can give you a shout out on this show. One last thing you can do is you can join our Discord. We're having a nice time in there talking about Nintendo games and trying to make sense of Mario Strikers Battle League. Adrian's in the Discord, so you know it's a good time. All right, Adrian, let's get into what we've been. To get in. Sorry, I messed it up. If you want to get into the Discord, you do need an invite. So either DM us on Twitter at Nincart Society or shoot us an email, Nintendo Cartridge Society @gmail.com, and we'll let you in. It's super easy.
You got to be a neat person, though.
You gotta be. You just gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Adrian, let's get into what we've been playing this week.
Sure thing.
So let's on the subject of Mario Strikers Battle League. There was the first kick this weekend, which was several different discrete hour-long chunks during which you could play online. You didn't like the sound of hour-long chunks?
I only played the normal 1 to 2 a.m. slot. That's the only time it could work for me. 12 noon to 1 o'clock, too late. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So you did get a chance to hop in and play it a little bit?
I did. I played the first day it came out. I played the 8 to 9 time slot, and the game itself seems like it's going to be really well made. It runs pretty well. I didn't really have any hitches gameplay wise. Kind of interested as to why the victory cutscenes are 30 frames a second, but maybe it's just because it's a preview build. That's just me though. Oh, but the biggest thorn in my side about it was when I was playing online, I lost both matches, mind you. And it's because people, for some reason, refuse to pass the ball. I don't understand what everybody's apprehension is about being a team member, a team player on a team. But yeah.
Well, and especially when the tutorial is so specific about your shots are more powerful when
you
comes
pass
immediately off a pass. Yeah, exactly. I'm on your side here.
Yeah. So the game itself is cool. I don't know how it's going to be with the online community. I would definitely recommend that you partner up with a buddy instead of a random. So
yeah. I mean, so I jumped in twice, on two separate little hour long chunks, and I got rolled both times. I'm not really a strikers guy normally. They're just not games that I've gotten into before. So I found myself overwhelmed a little bit with just kind of everything. I had a hard time tracking my character on the screen, and that's playing online is a bad place to learn those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're just letting people down.
Press A to pass, press Y to pass, press A to shoot, and now go into the 12-foot side of the pool, kid.
Right. Good luck.
Right.
But it is a beautiful game in action, and I'm determined to understand it. I think it'll be fun to play games online with friends and locally with friends.
Let me see here.
Let's see. I've two other games I've been playing. I've just been spending some time on the Nintendo Switch Online services, playing Dr. Mario.
Solid.
Yeah, solid. A great game. I can only play Dr. Mario for a little bit before Sarah, my girlfriend, is like, "Let me play a couple rounds," and then I'm done playing Nintendo for the night.
You hear from the other side of the house. Hey, is that Dr. Mario? Oh, great! Now I gotta get off.
But she's very good at it, so it's fun to watch her. And then I played a little bit of Majora's Mask on the Nintendo 64 Nintendo Switch online app, which, by the time Majora's Mask came out on Nintendo 64, I wasn't really plugged into my Nintendo stuff anymore, at least for a little while. So my main experience with this game is on the 3DS. And I'm having a fun time kind of slowly grinding my way through Majora's Mask on emulation of the original version.
Now, Patrick, some quote unquote real gamers would say that you are committing treason by playing the 3DS version, because there
Right.
are numerous changes and fixes that they did, that they say break the Majora's Mask formula. How would you like to respond to these allegations?
I will confess. Yes, I am a traitor. And I have no shame about it. No, I mean I know that there are like some issues with the like momentum system in the game. So both as the Deku Scrub, when you're like hopping along, the momentum doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And the swimming when you're the Zora. That it uses up magic to swim fast, which means something that you used to be able to do infinitely in the original version of the game. You are now extremely limited on using in the 3DS version. Guess what? I never finished the 3DS version because I found it frustrating.
Well,
So
they were right.
yeah,
Sounds like.
they were right. Exactly. But I'm gonna stick with Majora's Mask because I've never seen most of that game, and I'm excited to finally earn whatever cred that gives me,
Yeah.
if it earns me any credit at all.
Well, for some, it's the better of the two Zelda games that came out on the platform. So, I think you're in for a ride.
I'm excited. And I'm excited to have my heart broken over and over again, because that was one of the reasons that I had to stop playing the 3DS version. I couldn't deal with helping the Gorons out and then having to reset time and be like, oh no, they're not helped out anymore.
Right. And then, oh no, they're going to potentially be crushed.
Yes.
Like the rest of Termina.
Oh no.
It's all for nothing.
Adrian, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing, it's not a strictly Nintendo game, but it is a Switch console exclusive. It's an RPG that came out last year, called Eastward. And it's made by a studio named Pixpill. I believe they're based in China. And it's an RPG that focuses on two characters. It's a young girl named Sam and her pseudo father figure, John. And there's this whole ecosystem kind of thing with this world where there's people who live underground, and in this town, going outside and going above ground is forbidden. It's a, they try to spin the story and say there's nothing up there but death and destruction. And of course they break through, they get up there and they see it's awesome and it's gorgeous up there. But at the same time, there's other factors that are going on that might, how should I I'm trying not to be spoilery.
Yeah, sure.
But there's other factors that may cause everything to go away. And I'll just leave it at that. But I will say that I think this is probably one of the most beautifully designed games that I've seen in the last few years. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game, Patrick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I picked it up when it came out on Switch, because it's got a very Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore sort of look and gameplay style to it.
Mm-hmm.
I found the opening couple hours to be a little bit of a chore, so I didn't pick it back up. How deep into the game are you?
I probably am about 6 to 7 hours in right now.
Okay, yeah.
It definitely. It is a slow burn, but I think that's on purpose. I feel like there's a certain point where, and I hate when people talk like this about RPGs. It's like, oh, you just got to be 500 hours in and then it gets good.
Right.
But honestly, it's all in for the sake of world building. Like they're really just trying to, they put a feeler out there for you, and if you grab it, then they start pulling you. And next thing you know, next thing you know, it's 8 hours later and you're like, man, I do have to do that side quest for that person. I want to see them, succeed.
And at 7 or 8 hours, you feel like it's
I gotta see it through to the end. But I'm really, really enjoying it. I can very highly recommend it. And then on the other side of the coin, one that another RPG that needs no introduction, but we have to say the name regardless. I've been picking away at Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga here and there for the Game Boy Advance. Good grief. What a game. What a great game, man. Kicking off the Mario and Luigi saga that never really got the praise and recognition that it deserved. I think it sits right next to Paper Mario and Mario RPG. It stands shoulder to shoulder with them in my eyes. The series does. And
it's wild how the first entry in all those series, Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, which I know is the only entry, and Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, all first entries, and they're all bangers. They're all great.
Yes. But this, I feel like, is the first one where the sequels get better. So, because you got Superstar Saga to start off, and then you had Partners in Time, and then you had Bowser's Inside Story, which is just like the pinnacle of the series.
I love Inside Story.
So, and they, we got a good run of them before, rest in peace, Alpha Dream ended up closing. But we got what we got, so who knows? Maybe this year, maybe somebody else picks the series up and we get one at E3. Who knows? Anything could happen.
That would be wild.
Oh boy.
I mean, except that E3 doesn't exist anymore. But sure.
Oh well. I'm sorry. Excuse me. What do they call it? Keeley 3 now?
Is that what the kids are calling it?
Yeah, I think so.
So you said the Game Boy Advance. So you're playing the original version of it. What hardware are you playing that on? On a GBA?
Yeah, I go back and forth between my SP and my. We were talking about in the Discord when you put out your recent your special editions episode. It's the only special edition that I have. I'm not really a special edition console guy, but this one really got me. It's the Famicom Game Boy Micro. I got it while I was on a trip in Japan, and I was like, this might be the only chance that I have to get this Game Boy. So I'm gonna go to Super Potato, which is a game store out there, and I'm gonna get me one. And that's what happened. That was one of my I'm not leaving this country without that in my bag.
Without that, yes, perfect. Yeah, that's great. I love playing games like that on original hardware.
It doesn't hit the same any other way.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't. All right. Well, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week. Okay, coming out Wednesday, June 8th, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords is coming to Switch. And then on Friday, June 10th, Mario Strikers Battle League comes to Switch. Now, Adrian, I think we're both obviously interested in Mario Strikers Battle League. Where are you on Knights of the Old Republic 2?
I'm in. I have. I mean, I don't understand the is it allowed to not like KOTOR? I don't think I've ever heard anybody who played it been like, not my cup of tea.
I also would have accepted. I don't care about it because I know there are people for whom Star Wars doesn't do it.
Okay, so
yeah,
if you're, I'll say this: if you're into Star Wars and you've played this game, I don't know anybody who does not like this game. We'll put it in that context.
I have never played either of the KOTOR games. Really? And I'm a big Star Wars guy.
What happened? Just didn't line up at the time, or passed you by?
I mean, the first one came out on just Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm. Both of them.
Yeah. Well, well, there you go. That was why I was not. I co-owned an Xbox with my friend Scott, so we could play Halo. And it just lived in his dorm room, and I never got to play it on my own.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean that's most of it. But you're saying I should rectify this. I should go back.
Absolutely.
And play these games.
I would definitely say keep in mind, go into it with the mindset that this is early BioWare, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where a lot of the foundations for later games were made. So a lot of it is going to be a little bit less evolved than your Mass Effects.
Mm-hmm.
But entire package, the story is what really makes the game. Both of them.
So do you think I should play both of them or just skip right to 2?
No, play both of them.
Okay, all right. I got homework then. My buddy was a big part of the modding community that restored a lot of the DLC in KOTOR 2. So he's talked to me a lot about how good the second one is, but I have yet to have anyone really make the case for the first one. But if you think I should do it, Adrian, I'm going to do it.
Do it. Also, I'd like to fight the good fight and wave the banner for Star Wars Republic Commando. That's another one. Now, hear me out before you get crazy. It's a first-person shooter, right? But it stars a squad of elite clone troopers, and it's kind of like Clone Wars. You know the unit with I can't remember their names right now, but you know who I'm talking about.
Like the main guys or the Bad Batch?
Like it's kind of like the Bad Batch. This game walked so the Bad Batch could run.
Got it.
But yeah, the characters in here, they share a really special bond. You really do care for them. There's a great story, and for the time, the shooting was really good. So I would definitely recommend that too. That was another Xbox joint. So I don't know what it is with Xbox and Star Wars, but they were like, close knit.
Yeah, they were. That's so funny. I had never put it together. Xbox and Star Wars is Starbucks.
You're welcome. Phil Spencer, give me my check.
All right, Adrian, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Adrian and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Adrian, we are talking today about non-Disney, non-Pixar animated movies, because you saw The Bad Guys this weekend?
Yes. I saw The Bad Guys, which is DreamWorks' new animated feature. And this is the most, how should I say, the most Jeffrey Katzenberg era DreamWorks movie that there's been. And when I say that, I mean like Katzenberg he's the original founder and president of DreamWorks, but he was notorious he had that Steve Jobs kind of personality where it's like, I want it done right, and I want it done right now, and I'm going to be a dick about it,
Right.
But it's a masterclass, I feel like, in animation. Just the movement, it's so frantic, but it makes sense. It feels like a comic book and a Looney Tunes cartoon and a painting all mashed into one. And I don't know how they pulled it off, but they managed to do it.
Man, that is so. I gotta say that the movie doesn't show well in trailers. Like, when I've seen trailers for The Bad Guys, I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if I can care about this, but I mean, maybe I should have more faith in DreamWorks, right?
Well, that's tough. That's a tough statement to say.
That's a tough one.
DreamWorks now, I don't know. DreamWorks, a few years ago, you can't really go wrong. But I definitely would say it's at least worth a matinee. I think the story was really clever and well done. It really did make you care about the characters, which is, in my opinion, hard to do, especially with a story that moves as quickly as this. I recommend it.
Do you? I'm going to put forth one of my favorite, or I think my favorite DreamWorks animated movie has got to be Shrek Forever After. Have you ever seen Shrek Forever After?
That's part 4, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure I saw it when it came out, and then did not ever see it again. But it was not of a negative thing. It just never. You know what? I should watch Shrek 4 today.
I mean, it's a tough, like, I think by the time 3 other Shrek movies have come out, the appetite for a 4th is like, no, thank you.
Shrek cinematic fatigue.
That's right. But it's great. He like wishes for a world without his family, and then like has to live in a world where he never met Fiona and had the baby ogres. It's really dark.
Oh my God. Why do I not remember this? Did I block it out?
Maybe you didn't see it.
You know what? There's a possibility. I know for sure I saw the 3rd one because that one had Justin Timberlake in it, right? I think that was the big signal because I remember them pushing him in all the ads. It was like, come and see all of your favorite friends and Justin Timberlake as this character. Like they really thought he was a big get at the time.
Well, and I mean he's Timberlake. He is a big get.
Fair
All right,
point.
that was the applause. So we will never know if we had something else to say about DreamWorks movies. But we were accompanied today by the Berliner Philharmoniker. All right, Adrian, let's get into the news. Last Thursday at 6 a.m. Pacific time, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company premiered the first full-length trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Adrian, first I gotta know, did you wake up early to watch this thing?
You know I did.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why, but I had it in my head that it was going to be like
a direct,
event, like not a direct. I know better than from Pokemon. But yeah, I wasn't expecting a 3-minute trailer and then go back to bed. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I dig the direction it's going in. The coolest thing for me was they're gonna let you do up to 4 people for co-op, and then you don't all have to be in the same area. Like you can just go the entire length of the map and still all be playing together. That's awesome. Because you could somebody could be in like a snow region, and you could be like, hey, catch me a couple of these and bring it back, or I'll meet you in the middle, or I'll meet you halfway, or something like that.
I'm really curious to see how that all works with, because it looks like the battle system is like the turn-based, right?
Old school.
Like there's no like kind of like real-time stuff. So it just makes me wonder like how, one person's experience outside the turn-based battle is going to compare to the person inside the turn-based battle.
I'd imagine it's probably going to be like a spectate, right? Like,
yeah, maybe. Or, I mean, maybe you can get in on the action and like,
quadruple team that Caterpie.
That Caterpie's going down. All right, some highlights from the trailer. We met the 2 mentor professors, and they're both babes, like just smoke shows.
Yikes.
The one from Scarlet is a lady professor who appears to be wearing like a caveman loincloth under a lab coat.
And it all works, baby.
It all works. And the professor in Violet, I didn't write down either of their names, so I apologize for that. But is just a stud. He's got that like movie star stubble on his face.
The Clooney.
Yes, that's right. That is right. So, Pokemon professors are now thirsty as all get out. And I think we're all about it. Like, yes, thank you, Pokemon Company. We met 3 new Pokemon, Lechonk, who is a pig, Smoliv, who is some sort of nervous olive, and Pawmi, who is the latest Pikachu clone. Adrian, how'd you feel about these new Pokemon?
All I know is the internet went absolutely insane over that pig one. Lechonk, like
they love the
pig. I've never seen fan art come up quicker of a Pokemon than that one. But I guess it's easy when it's just based off a circle, so.
It's amazing to me how much they're like leaning into the sort of like memeified language for naming Pokemon. Lechonk being the name of the pig character, like chonk is such a like internet-y kind of way to refer to something chubby, and Smoliv is SMOLIVE, and that's like also the sort of like internet lingo for small. Yeah. Like they're just leaning into it. They know what they're doing there.
They're like, look, man, we're at 1,000 Pokemon. We'll take anything we can get. Hey, you kids like internet lingo? Yeah, throw it in there. Who cares?
Sure, just do it. Who cares? We also got to see the 2 new legendaries, Koraidon and Miraidon. And they're both sort of like motorcycle-y dragons.
Now, would I be insane for saying that these are some of the coolest legendary designs we've gotten in a long time? Because they are.
You're right. I think you're right. I always feel like the legendaries look a little bit too transformery to me. Like they almost look, like a little bit too just like you can see the like chunks of metal or like weird bones or something. And these guys, like, I just like that they
look like animals.
They look like animals, but they have like one of them has a tire on its
literally,
chest,
yeah.
Right?
It's organic rubber matter.
Yeah, of course. And the names Koraidon and Miraidon are when translated, one of them translates to like classic
past.
or like the past, and the other to like the future. And I forget which is which. But I think you can see it in the designs of those characters, that the one sort of looks like a classic motorcycle and the other looks like a motorcycle in F-Zero or something.
Even the professors, because she's in the caveman uniform,
totally.
And he's in the like future, Star Trek uniform type beat.
Yeah, that's so. Knowing that we've seen some time travel in Legends Arceus, do you think it's possible that we have like elements of time travel in this game?
I wouldn't be surprised. I just want to know how they would figure that, because in that sense, right? Do you think that both professors are in each game then?
No, I don't think so. I think they're restricted to one version of the game.
Now, what would be really cool is if in one version you go backwards and in the other version you go forward.
Oh my God.
And then one version you can only get like prehistoric Pokemon like Kabuto or something like that in one version, and then the other one you can get like Porygon 2 in the future. Yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
Yeah. Well, and then also that there being like some sort of like portal in the middle, where you can travel over to your friend's game and play in the future, or you can bring them into your game and play back in the past.
Now, Game Freak, I'm available for employment if you want. I'm willing to relocate to Japan. I need to be paid in onigiri. But other than that,
now it is possible that that's already what this game is.
Hopefully.
I don't want to get us too excited, but like if this is a time traveling Pokemon game, like
I'm down.
Yes, please. Well, because so we've seen a little bit of what the new region looks like, but the region hasn't been named really, and we don't have any sort of sense of like what the game's thing is yet, right? Like that usually comes a little bit later.
Oh, you mean like the hook or the big mechanic?
Yeah. What the hook? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They haven't said anything about that yet. And we're pretty close here, so I don't know if there is going to be one.
I mean, it could be that they're leaning on the open worldness to be the hook, which fair. Like that's pretty cool, pretty unique, especially with the 4-player simultaneous. That's awesome.
That's what people wanted. So here you go.
Here you go. And the release date that we got is November 18th. So like you said, Adrian, coming up on us like so fast. I can't believe it.
It's already June before you know it.
Yep. Later that day, the day of the Direct, Undertale creator and composer of its soundtrack, Toby Fox, revealed that he wrote one of the musical themes for the game. And that theme, of course, will be rearranged and remixed for different parts throughout the game, but it's one of the like field themes, like one of the main like overworld themes. And just as a reminder, Toby Fox also composed some music for Little Town Hero, which was also developed by Game Freak.
That's how he got his foot in the door.
That's right. So and that's cool that he's like that he's I mean, I hope he never stops making games too, because his games are rad.
Yeah.
But it's cool that he gets to like compose for some of the best-selling games on the platform.
Yeah, I mean, he did that. He did some work for Smash Brothers. He's best friends with Sakurai, so I don't see why not. I really like though that they let him step up. Like this is his major leagues moment, because before his music was only optional if you went and did something else in the game.
That's right.
But now, like, it's a main track. Like, everyone is going to hear this, and I think that's really cool. That's such a big opportunity. I mean, granted, he did make one of the, like, most talked about games ever made, but that stage is so big for him. So I'm glad to see, you know, him making it.
Yeah, it's nice to see someone succeed. And then I don't know if this is related, but since we're talking about Pokemon, Pokemon Smile received an update last week, adding over 100 new Pokemon and the ability to change your partner Pokemon. Pokemon Smile, of course, being the thing that helps you brush your teeth, which, I never checked out because I'm pretty good at brushing my teeth. Adrian, you pretty good at brushing your teeth?
Yeah, I'm not too shabby.
Yeah.
But I think it would be pretty interesting to try one time, just to see exactly what it entails.
Totally. I mean, if I was a kid, I would have been all about this.
Now, this is the one where when you brush, your Pokemon gets like experience points or something like that, right?
I assume so.
You know what? Let me go ahead and download this. I need to. I'll investigate and I'll report my findings.
All right. Good. One more Pokemon-related story here. We learned last week that Junichi Masuda is stepping down from his role as managing director at Game Freak. Masuda has been working on the series since the beginning, composing music, designing, and naming Pokemon for decades. But Adrian, don't worry. He's not going that far. Effective immediately, Masuda is the chief creative fellow with the Pokemon Company.
Thank goodness.
It's less of a loss of a talent and just a repositioning of the talent. He'll no longer be involved in the individual development of specific games in the franchise and more involved in like brand management of Pokemon.
Now, to be fair, he has been stepping back over the past few years already. He hasn't been like nearly as involved. He's been more of he's kind of been like Miyamoto, where Miyamoto doesn't like actively make games anymore. He's more of like he's the old samurai that's like sitting on the hill and they go to him for advice. He's like, Miyamoto-san, what should I do with my game? And then he's like, my young game developer son, let me tell you how to make a fantastic 10 out of 10 experience. And that's kind of what he's been doing. So he's just kind of shifting gears now, fully.
Yeah, and I think that's actually like kind of good. Like I like that it seems like there's a little bit more young energy in the Pokemon games lately, that they're like open to the ideas and like the direction that the newer Game Freak employees like want to take these games in. Like I think that's what we see in Legends is like a direct result of that. And Masuda has too much institutional knowledge, too much creativity, too much of just the juice to be restricted to any one game. Like if he's like, here's what's next for Pokemon on the grand stage here, I think he's perfect for that.
Yeah. Too much experience to just up and leave.
Yeah, that's right. Last week at PlayStation State of Play, there was a ton of new Resident Evil news, including the first official reveal of the long-rumored Resident Evil 4 remake and PlayStation VR 2 content coming to Resident Evil Village. And we could talk about that in a second. But what does that mean? What does that have to do with Nintendo? Well, the Resident Evil games are seeing a dramatic, even more dramatic than usual, price drop on the Switch eShop. The sales prices I'm about to list are in effect until June 17th. Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil 6 are all $10. And Resident Evil Revelations and Resident Evil Revelations 2 are $7.99 each. That's like deeper discounts than usual. I usually see them at like
15, 12, like 13.
Yeah. So yeah, if you were ever interested in these games, I think now is the time to get them. But Adrian, do you want to talk about Resident Evil 4?
I do, but it's not centric to Nintendo. So
I know.
But I'm so excited about it. How about that? We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm also very excited. The 2 and 3 remakes were just wonderful. I love them to pieces. So yeah, I'm very excited for 4. And then just a little side note here, there are a handful of other Capcom games that are also on sale right now. That sale ends today, the day this episode comes out. But the Resident Evil games are on sale till the 17th.
Do yourself a favor, pick up those Mega Man X collections. Tons of bangers in there.
Yeah, and the Mega Man Legacy collections and the Mega Man X, it's between them it's what, like 18 good games.
Yeah, is Ace Attorney on sale? Because that's another one.
Yeah, I think they are. I
there
think
you go.
two Ace Attorney collections are also on sale. Yeah, there's a bunch. But also those go on sale a lot. It's the Resident Evil games that are on like special sale at this point.
Yeah, true.
In a post on a Japanese recruitment website, Super Mario Odyssey lead visual effects artist Junki Ekiuchi talked about specific challenges of adding visual effects to a game with so many contrasting visual styles. So I thought it was a cool little bit of insight here, so I'm just going to pull some quotes from the piece. He writes, when Mario runs in Super Mario Odyssey, a small white cloud of smoke appears under him. Senior colleagues of mine often say effects are like glue that also hold together things when things in the game interact with each other. When Mario throws his hat and hits an enemy, things like stars pop up to visually let you know that you've hit the target. But when Mario interacts with the real world, like in New Donk City, the big problem becomes choosing which of the two art styles the visual effect should resemble. Should we choose an effect that resembles the animated Mario? If so, it wouldn't match the realistic city, and the same could be said in reverse. To solve this problem, ideas were taken from both themes and blended together. And then he gives an example. Take, for example, a waterfall in the middle of the wilderness, which has a realistic splashing effect. But when Mario hits something, cutesy stars pop out instead. We didn't want every character in the game to have the same effects. If a dragon breathes out fire, the fire gets more realistic the further away it gets from Mario, and we kept that design choice in mind when making all the effects across all stages of the game. So just a cool little look. I love Mario Odyssey, and I love reflecting on it.
Mm-hmm. See, these are the people that I want to hang out with. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, I don't know very many people who like. I know a lot of people who like video games, right? I know a lot of people who like video games a lot, but I've never been able to have a conversation like, man, what did you think of those particle effects in Super Mario Odyssey? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's so cool to think that like. Because when you encounter, I assume they're talking about the big dragon in the Ruined Kingdom. That is, it looks like it's out of Game of Thrones. And if it's breathing fire and the fire is like nowhere near Mario, that can be photorealistic fire, and that makes sense. But as it gets closer to Mario, it needs to be more cartoony. That's so rad.
So cool, man.
Yeah. Thanks to Nintendo Everything for the translation on that piece.
Absolutely. I can listen to them talk about that kind of stuff all day.
Yeah, it's very cool. Nintendo will once again be skipping Gamescom for 2022. The late summer video game convention in Cologne, Germany is the largest in the world, and at one point was a normal part of Nintendo's summer publicity tour. But that changed in 2020, and Nintendo has not had a presence at or made any announcements during Gamescom since before the pandemic. Regardless, Gamescom will be August 24th through the 28th. Adrian, how do you feel about this? Nintendo skipping out on Gamescom?
I mean, it's kind of par for the course, right? At this point, they don't really do anybody else's stuff but their own these days. It's kind of like it's Nintendo Direct or go home. I don't think they've been at a show. Like, I don't even think they do Tokyo Game Show anymore, do they?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think they are like just kind of in laying low mode.
Yeah, because I feel like if they weren't going to do anything else, they'd do Tokyo Game Show because it's right there and it's home turf. So if they're not going to do it there, they're definitely not going to do it anywhere else.
So what do you think this portends anything for I've been predicting that we're going to have a Nintendo Direct next week on the 14th Tuesday. But we are getting closer and closer to that date without having any kind of announcement. And I understand by the time this episode comes out, there may be some kind of announcement.
I was going to say, it could probably be tomorrow morning. Like, it's going to be a Nintendo Direct next week. Or it could be 2 days before, like they've done, a couple of times, where it's just like, actually, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct in about 15 seconds. So,
so get ready.
Right. I wouldn't put it past them. We're definitely going to get one. I'd say at least between this and next month.
Yeah, I think sometime in June for sure. That's Nintendo's pattern, excepting 2020, because 2020 was
nobody was doing anything.
That's right. It was an anomalous year. They're always February, June, September. So it would be weird if we didn't see something. Perhaps related to this, Ubisoft has announced that they will not be holding an E3 style showcase this year. We know that they are working on Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which is did we ever get a release window for that, like of 2022?
Could have swore it was late this year.
Mm-hmm.
I am not 100%. Actually, you know what? You just reminded me. I still needed to do the Donkey Kong DLC for that game.
Me too. I loved the base game.
Mm-hmm.
And when the DLC came out, I started by like sampling some of the just like higher difficulty things, and that was a mistake.
Yes, that game is hard.
The game is hard, and then when they make it like intentional, when they make it harder, it's too hard.
I'm good. I'll keep it on normal. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, okay. I can't wait to see what I hope we get an announcement tomorrow of a direct for next week.
We
but
have to.
Who knows?
Ubisoft probably realized that we can't really keep affording to pay all these dancers, so we're just not gonna do it anymore. Plus
Sure.
You can just pile on all the rest of the excuses. Plus COVID, plus A, B, and C.
That's right.
We just don't need to do it anymore.
Now, come on. How much do you think it costs them to hire a stage full of dancers to promote the next Just Dance?
Well, you definitely got to rent a food truck, right? Because you got to feed them.
Yep. Maybe 2 food trucks.
Yeah. So who knows how much those 2
trucks.
cost?
Right.
And then you have to put them up.
Maybe what? 30 dancers, maybe?
Yeah. So you have to put them up somewhere.
Okay.
So that's at least a night. And then you have to pay for rehearsals.
You're right. It's not worth it. You're right. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Universal Studios Hollywood put out a 30-second trailer for the incoming Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge attraction. The ride is scheduled to open, quote, early 2023 with the rest of Super Nintendo World. Here's a little bit of copy from the press release. Quote, the innovative achievement will propel guests into a multi-dimensional experience that recreates iconic environments from the Mario Kart games where no 2 races are alike. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge is also one of the most complex rides ever built within the entertainment industry. The sophisticated ride is a multi-sensory cornucopia of color, sound, and movement that invites guests to navigate familiar environs through the creative use of integration of head-mounted augmented reality goggles, a point of differentiation that distinguishes this ride from other theme park attractions. I'm overwhelmed already.
Now, Patrick, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. If you think that I didn't watch the POV videos of this ride when Super Nintendo World opened in Japan, you are sorely mistaken, my friend. I know this ride inside and out. Okay, I can't wait for it to come to LA so I can finally ride it.
Right? This bit where they say no 2 races are alike, is that because it's like an interactive ride? Like
it can be. You can use items. You can use items per se.
Yeah, sure.
In the track, I don't think you can ever lose, of course. But you know what? That could be interesting.
If you lose sometimes. Yeah,
because then you'd have to ride again.
Until you win.
Yeah. No, but you do use different items, and I think there are branching pathways, so you go on different courses per se, or different parts of courses, so that would make it not the same ride. Of course, it's not going to ever be, you'll never ride the same ride twice because it would have to be an infinitely big warehouse. But
but it's still, I mean, it's still very cool. I'm a little nervous about like the AR goggle stuff, just because like
people,
it makes because of people, but also just because like I don't know, all of the rides at Universal where they incorporate like a moving element and a screen at the same time. I'm thinking of like the Harry Potter like Hogwarts ride. That thing gives me a headache. I hate it. Maybe they've worked out some of the kinks in that, and this is different.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was gonna say. If 67-year-old Japanese man can handle it, if he signed off on it, I think we're gonna be okay.
A 67-year-old Japanese man has a better diet than I do, though.
Fair point.
So.
Fair point.
No, this is so impossibly cool. I can't wait. Every time I go to Universal, I'm like, man, I wish there was like one more thing here I cared about. Because like I can usually spend about half a day. Like I got to ride Jurassic World. I got to ride the Mummy ride. I got to walk through Springfield. And then that's kind of it. Like the studio tour is also fun. But if there's one more big thing, and that's Super Nintendo World, that's all I need.
I'm going to take so many pictures, dude, and buy so much stuff.
Yeah.
Just wait.
It's game over for the bank account. For
sure.
Are
you kidding? I am going straight to the poorhouse, but I'll look good doing it.
And finally, the Nintendo 64 app for the Nintendo Switch Online has been updated to version 2.3.1. The update fixes Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, which had previously included a potential game-breaking bug. That bug is no longer there. We talked about it a couple weeks, so it's just good to close the loop on that and say you can now play the game without fear of that specific thing happening to you.
That's so odd. Like the bug wasn't originally there. Like they created a bug.
Yeah. Or, something in the emulation created this bug.
Yeah.
Yep. So good on them for fixing it. I do think it's so funny that they have to like update the whole app that like it gets a new version number just to like fix one tiny thing in Kirby.
You got to do what you got to do. I mean, this is what happens when you don't, test your stuff all the way.
Are you a Crystal Shards guy?
Oh yeah. You think I am? My brother is the one who bought it. He's multiple times over the years 100% of that game. No doubt.
Multiple times.
Yes. He loves Crystal Shards. That was like his first Kirby game, so.
And look, you never forget your first.
Fair point. And he was in the perfect like demographic for that too. I think he was maybe about 5 or 6 when it came out, so it hit. Everything hit for him in the perfect time.
I was putting off playing it because I because of this bug, and also just because I needed a little distance between. We did Kirby month in April, where we were just playing Kirby games, and Crystal Shards was one that we didn't get to, but we played so many other games. So I just needed like a little break from Kirby, and I think now with this game being fixed, it's a perfect time for me to jump into it.
Perfect. Go for it.
All right, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Adrian Holmes, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I hope I did okay.
You did great, man. This was super fun. Is there anything that you would like to plug at this time?
I, of course, want to plug my cohorts and I at the Super Gamer Boys. We do a video game news show. We do it live on Twitch every Monday, and then it comes out for the general public on Wednesdays. I also host a book club show for Super Gamer Boys called Super Gamer Book Club, of which, of course, Mr. Patrick has been a guest of, where we talked about the all-time legendary classic that is Super Mario World. So you can definitely find me over there. You can find us at twitch.tv/the supergamerboys and youtube.com/supergamerboys, and your favorite podcast services.
Yeah, check them out. It's great. I've loved every time I've been on, and I've loved everything I've listened to. They're good guys over there. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, share it on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you can share stuff. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Adrian is at
Homeboy.
At Homeboy, that's right. Boy is BOI. And collectively, the show is Nin Cart Society. There's also a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Adrian Holmes, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.